Women should not be abused. Women should not be abused. And women are supposed to be protected. Women are the weaker vessel. It says in the Bible that women are the weaker vessel. It says he who finds a wife finds a good thing. It says men should love their wives as they love their own flesh. And I'm a woman. I'm a woman who has been mentally, emotionally, psychologically, physically abused and burdened and oppressed by a man who's been allowed to get away with this because of his power, because of his authority, because of the affiliation that he has. And I'm tired of women being abused. I'm tired of women being mistreated by men who are in high figure, people who have money or status, and women are sitting here oppressed, emotionally and physically and mentally oppressed and mistreated by these men. Now, yesterday, I had my daughter's car because, see, my lights had gotten cut off. We'll go into that. But yesterday I had my daughter's car. She allowed me to borrow her car because I was supposed to go down to PIP, and I was going to go down to Step Forward and see if they could, in Cleveland Housing Network, to see if they can get my lights turned back on and help me get my lights turned back on. And I thought they were open yesterday, but they were closed because it was the day after Thanksgiving. I thought that they were going to be open. So I had my daughter's car. So I ended up putting gas in her car. I drove to the gas station, put gas in my daughter's vehicle. And when I got back in the car, after pumping the gas, I started the car and drove back home. So I knew the keys were in the car because my daughter has a push button start where you push the button, you won't start unless the keys are in the vehicle. So the keys were there. I never got out of the car. When I pulled up into the driveway where I live, I was getting ready to get out of the car, and I'm looking for the keys because, see, my house keys were also connected to these keys. I'm looking everywhere. I'm looking all over because, see, the keys were in the cup holder. I normally just put them down in the cup holder where I always keep them. And I'm going to show you that. So as you can see, hopefully you saw that. That's where I always put the keys. I dropped them right there and I drove home. It was not even a 5-minute drive. It's right up the street. So I'm looking all over when I'm getting ready to get out the car, and I don't see the keys anywhere. And I'm looking in my purse. I started looking in my purse. I'm looking all over it on the floor. I'm looking in the cup holders. I'm opening up the cup holders and looking all in it. And I'm like, where are the keys? They were just there. And I know the keys had to be in the car. I couldn't have left it at the gas station because, again, the car would not have started if the keys were not in the car. So I'm looking all over. I don't see the keys anywhere. I try to start the car and it keeps saying keys not detected, keys not in the car. Or something, the keys, you know how it says that message. So I get out of the car, I unlock the door, I make sure that the car doors are unlocked. I go inside my house. I can't even get in my house because I locked the door, and I'm banging on the door because my son's in there sleeping. He couldn't hear me. And I'm out here. I'm like, okay, you know what, Lord, I'm starting to get frustrated. I says, I know he took my keys. And I commanded, I said, I'm going to get exposed as I can't keep taking this anymore. And so I started praying. And so when I went back, I looked in my purse. I got back in the car and I looked in my purse and I saw the keys sitting right there, as soon as I opened the purse. And so this has been going on for years. I have been psychologically, mentally, physically, and emotionally abused by a man. And it's gotten to the point where I was breaking down yesterday. I said, Lord, how long do I have to keep putting up this? Because, see, I'd already woken up. I was in excruciating pain because this man spent the entire night taking something. If you know what it feels like to take a nail and step on a nail on the back of if you step your foot down on a nail, or if you have a knife grinding into you, imagine how it feels for your bottom of your heel to have a knife or something hard and sharp just grinding in it as hard as it can. That's what I felt. I felt it all night. This man will constantly do this. He'll constantly do. The Lord already told me many years ago that he had my body on an altar. I mean, he has some type of voodoo doll or something he's using where he has me on an altar wherever he wants to torment me and cut into me. He'll do that. He'll start doing that. And so he was doing this all night, and I woke up in so much pain. My feet were hurting so bad that I could barely get out of get off the couch and walk around. I was in so much pain. And so the Lord had already told me he was already upset at me because I had posted that video when my lights got cut off. I posted a video talking about it was God's turn out, and he hates when I expose his covenant, I expose him. Whenever I make videos about him or his covenant, the things they do to me, he'll get very upset and he'll retaliate against me or punish me. When he thinks I've done something wrong, he'll punish me. And so he's been allowed to get away with this for years. And so I was asking God, because I'm already upset because see, my mother and them, they decided they were going to try and come up with some money to help me pay my electric bill. See, the electric should have never gotten cut off. I had been going through this for 2 months now, where I was approved for PIP back in September. I was approved for PIP. They paid my gas bill. They paid that, and I was supposed to have my payments reduced to $46 a month to reflect my income because I don't get much a month. And so they were gonna they were gonna approve me for the electric bill to be paid also, but they had told me that the illuminating company had rejected it. And so they rejected because they said, oh, the service is either disconnected, stopped, or transferred out of my name. And so all this started when I moved. If you all know, back in September, I moved to Florida, and I thought I was supposed to stay down there permanently. So I got up my kids and we all packed our things and we moved to Florida, and I had my electric bill shut off. I had the services shut off because I told them I was going to be moving. And so if this message is all over the place again, like I said, they don't want the truth to go out. And so whenever they're trying to stop me from telling and exposing them, they have these people attached to me, and they'll try to take over and have me speaking all over the place where the message is misconstrued or the message is not as impactful as it need to be, where I can't say certain important things. Okay, so I'm getting this message out here because I'm going to need you all to pray for me. So I had the electricity shut off because I was moving. I thought I was going to be staying in Florida permanently. I didn't have the gas shut off because I already had a disconnection over. My gas bill was so high and I could not pay it all. I was paying a little bit a month, and it was very high. And I've been waiting for PIP for a while, and it took so long for it to be approved. And so my gas bill had gotten up so high, and so they were getting ready to shut it off. I had a disconnection notice, and I thought I was going to be leaving anyway. So I left it on. I said, it's going to be cut off in a few days. So I had my electricity turned off. I moved to Florida. As you know, I could not stay down there because even though I was approved for Section 8, they allowed me to have Section 8. The Lord was letting me know they were blocking everything. I was contacting people. They would not allow me into a homeless shelter. I could not get a place down there. People would not call me back. They would not help me with the security deposit. And then when I was able to get something, they would not call me back to rent to me. And the Lord had let me know that this man and his entire covenant, they were blocking me. It was him behind the scenes. He's been doing this all along, blocking me from getting anything. As I talked about it in another video when I said abused by a narcissist, this man has been in very a significant impact in my life in the background, controlling things. He has his entire covenant coming up against me on jobs where they would attack me on jobs, do things to me on the jobs where I would have to leave the jobs because he did not want me working. When I just resorted to using my vehicle to work, since I cannot make money on these jobs, I started using my vehicle because the Lord let me know He's showing me ways I can make money. So I started working doing DoorDash, Instacart, driving for Uber and Lyft, and delivering packages for Amazon Flex. And he would always constantly cause problems and hindrances. My car would start breaking down then, and they kept attacking my vehicles. They did not want me to work. So eventually I lost my vehicle. I could not afford to pay for it to get fixed. And so he's been in the background doing all these things, retaliating against me. Every time he feels that I've done something wrong, the Lord let me know he's retaliating because he wants me to be punished. He's punishing me or giving me consequences, or whatever you call consequence for my actions, if I don't submit to him or do what he tells me to do, what he feels I should do. He's been trying to get me over to Satan's kingdom. And this is what the issue has been all along. And so I was already upset that my daughter and my mother, who they shouldn't have to give me money. And so this man keeps creating problems. He's been doing this all along, causing problems behind the scenes. And we have to keep cleaning up the messes for him, me and my family, me and my mother and my children. He keep having to bear the burdens and the consequences of his actions, of what he has done, while he gets to go along and continue to live his life as someone who's done nothing and hide in the background. But they keep creating problems, him and this woman who he's closely affiliated with. And he's been helping her cast her burdens upon me, take things from me. I've been carrying her fat around. I'll lose weight and she'll put her fat back on me. He's been helping her do this they steal my DNA, put scratches on me, take my blood and all this stuff, take things out of my house, my personal possessions, and use it, put it on their altars to form soul ties to me, take pictures and screenshots of my face. They do all this, keep holding on to my soul. And so I was already mad because my mother and them decided they were going to try and come up with the money to pay the bill to get my electricity on. And electricity should have been on, but they would not. Like I said, I kept going back to PIP. And since when I was approved for PIP, they kept saying that the service is not in my name. And I was contacting Illuminating Company. I was contacting all these people. I even went down to Cleveland Housing Network. I contacted Step Forward. I was on the phone for 45 minutes with the man. They said everything. They were going to get it straight now. They're going to talk to Step Forward and talk to Supervisor. Lord already let me know that it was somebody who was working for him in the Illuminating Company who blocked me from getting PIP, who was stopping it from being applied to the account because they wanted my electricity to be cut off. He wanted me to sit here and basically not have anything because he was causing himself punishing me because he cannot get what he wants. He's been punishing me, retaliating against me emotionally, physically, mentally, psychologically, abusing me for years to teach me a lesson because he could not get his way with me. And so that's what he's been doing. So my lights were cut off. Thursday evening, my lights were cut off. And so my mother and my daughter had to scramble up some money. They came up with some money so I can try and get the lights back on. They're still not on. Hopefully Monday they'll be able to turn it on. But see, I talk to God because see, my mother doesn't have much money. She gets a small little Social Security check. As you know, she's an elderly woman. She's sickly. She's had multiple heart attacks. And she shouldn't have to keep giving me her money when she barely has enough for herself. She has to pay her own rent and her own bills. On top of that, my daughters, they're young. They're very young. My one daughter is only, 24 years old. She's young. She's trying to live and take care of herself. He caused her to lose her job. He keeps attacking his family, keeping us from having money. He does not want anyone to support me. Anytime someone supports me, he'll take from them or have his coven retaliate against them. And he won't allow anyone else to help us. He's blocked all the help. And the Lord's let me know this is him in the background doing this. On top of that, my daughter, my oldest daughter, she has her own children. She has a child of her own to take care of. She has her own family. And I shouldn't have to ask her for money. And I don't have my own money. You might think, oh, I have my hair done. I have money. No, this hair was free. My daughter, when she had a little free time, she'll do my hair sometimes when she has free time. I had a bunch of hair that I bought when I did have money months ago, back in the summertime. I had a whole bunch of hair that I had just had packs of hair because I never used it. And so I saved that hair. And so whenever I need to get my hair done, my daughter will come and do my hair for free and I'll have this hair that I use. And so when I have my little check, I only get one little small check. This is my son's disability check. I don't have my own income because he stopped me from having my income. The Lord let me know he did all this stuff. He put my books, they put my books on altars. They stopped my books from selling. I broke several books, multiple books, because the Lord told me this was my way of earning money. That was supposed to be revenue for me to have to take care of my family, take care of myself, and also to help his people. So I wrote all these books. He told me they put my books on altars. They stopped the books from selling. They blocked all my books. He was doing this. I started 2 businesses. He said he stopped all that. They stopped blocking up my YouTube channel, so I could not make revenue off of that. They had blocked up so much. So I don't have, he kept me from getting jobs, attacked me on jobs. So I don't have any type of income of my own. Only income I get is for my son's small disability check. And so I took that and bought him some clothes because he was supposed to be starting school. I bought him a bunch of clothes because, as you know, when we were in Florida, we had to leave everything behind. My son had no clothes. We had no clothes. Neither of us had any clothes. We left all of our stuff. Majority of our stuff had to be left there because when I had to go back home, I had no money. Once again, my mother and my children, my 2 daughters, had to scramble up with money to get me back after I went to Florida, and I was supposed to stay there, but he caused me not to be there. He had his coven fighting against me, blocking everything. So once again, my mother and them had to sacrifice everything they have. We already don't have money. We're already living off of low, menial income. While he has this nice job making 6 figures a year, driving around a Mercedes-Benz, has rental property, stocks, investments, and everything. But every time he causes a problem for me, him and his coven, my mother and my daughters, who already don't have money, we don't have anything. We have to keep paying for it and fixing his problems that he creates. So my mother and them had to come up with money to get me a plane ticket for me and my 2 children to get back home to Ohio. So all we had enough for was the plane ticket. And when you ride Spirit Airlines, you have to pay for everything. You have to pay for carry-on luggage. They wanted to charge me $80 per luggage, per suitcase, for us to take our stuff back home. So I had to leave all my clothes there. We could only carry a few items in duffel bags, small duffel bags. So majority of all of our things that we had packed up, because I thought I was going to live there, all of our shoes, all of our underwear, all of our clothes, everything we had, all of our possessions were left in an airport back in Florida, Miami, Florida. So I had nothing. We had no clothes. I had to buy my son all these clothes all over again because I thought he was going to school, but they blocked that. The Lord let me know they blacklisted my son. They caused him to lose his education. This woman who he's working with cast her burdens upon me and my children, has stolen things for us for our entire lives. And he has helped these women. He has helped all of them. Whenever he likes a woman, I don't know if they're lovers or not, but I know he's with her. And the Lord told me they're working together, them and their families. They're part of the same demonic network that's been coming up against me. So I basically had nothing. My parents, I said my mother and my daughters had to basically come up with the money to try and get my electricity on. So I'm already upset about that. I'm like, Lord, this is unfair. Why do we have to keep cleaning up his messes? He caused me to lose my children. He's always in the background. They cast their burdens upon me for years, cast their burdens upon my children. This woman has attached herself to my soul, put her mental illnesses on me and my kids, put their burdens upon us, put their fat upon us, had us sitting in a stupor. The Lord even let me know this woman had caused me to basically to sin. When I was walking around, when I post the video, you see my breast all out. This was her all along. And see, the Lord punishes me when I do things, but these people have been attaching themselves to us, defiling my soul, defiling my temple, defiling my body, causing me to fall into sin, doing all types of things, putting their perverse spirits on me and my children, causing us to carry their burdens. And this man, we constantly try to pray for him to get him out of his bondage. His demons are controlling him because he won't go to God. Neither one of them will go to God. And see, this woman and this man who are working together, they expect us to continue to keep carrying their burdens while they don't go to God, and they keep sinning and they do whatever they want to do, but they don't want any type of consequences. They want to avoid and escape judgment. They want to evade judgment. And so I was upset because he keeps constantly psychologically abusing me. He's been doing this for years, taking things out of my house, moving things, causing things in the background, causing my daughter to have seizures, causing her to be sick, and causing me to lose work, and I get retaliated against, causing things to happen with my children. He's been in the background all along, causing things to happen, attaching himself to my son, causing him to get into trouble. And see, we pay the consequences for everything he's doing in the background. Everything reflects on us. My daughter, I've had my kids taken from me. I've been labeled as a neglectful parent. All this because this man is in the background working against me. Him and his entire coven, destroying everything I have, keeping us walking around in poverty and bondage. I said to God, I was so upset. I cried. I said, Lord, I can't keep taking this emotional abuse. He is psychologically, physically, mentally, emotionally abusing me. We had to keep cleaning up his mess while him and they're not held accountable for anything. And the Lord wanted him saved, but we prayed for him. And see, if you don't go to God, and your demons are going to control you. It's no one else's fault. I could pray for you all day. Like I said, I prayed and fasted for this man, but he wanted to continue holding on to his things. He wanted his wealth, his finances. He cared more about the worldly stuff and his coven. He had an allegiance and affinity to his coven. He cared more about that than serving God. And so I asked God, I said, I shouldn't have to be abused like this. I am a woman. First of all, I am a woman. And women should not have to be abused. I'm tired of men getting allowed to abuse women, especially men who are powerful and no one says anything. They hide and behind the scenes, and people see them abusing and mistreating these women. No one ever speaks up and says a thing because this person has a lot of power or status or money or whatever it is. And everyone's afraid to speak up. And you think about, like I talked about before in the video with P. Diddy right now, the things that's happening, that's coming to the forefront when they found out how he was mistreating Cassie and Kim Porter, and for years people had saw this stuff and they didn't say a word because they were all afraid of him, or they were just basically influenced because of his domination, his power and control, his social status and his wealth. And so this is exactly what I'm going through, except this man is so covert with it. He can do sorcery in the background. He's pulling all the strings and the reins, and me and my children are paying the consequences. Me and my family have been burdened for years by this man. And I'm asking God, I says, Lord, you're not a respecter of persons. If everybody else is supposed to be judged, you're supposed to be judging this man. It's not, I shouldn't have to keep bearing this and suffering in silence, being psychologically, mentally, and physically and emotionally abused by this man. He has kept me in a bondage where I have no finance. I have to go into a store and I have to walk around with nothing. I had to ask my 24-year-old daughter to buy me something. And this has been going on for years. And they'll get mad at me sometimes. And I'm sitting here can barely wash my clothes. Or I sit here, I can't even go anywhere. I'm stuck in a house because he's taken all my vehicles and I can't work. I have no money and I'm sitting here bearing this shame. People looking at me like, you 40-something years old. Why you don't have any money? Why you can't take care of yourself? I bore the shame that this man has caused. I was always independent. I always took care of myself. I worked. I was hard working. I was smart and everything. They put their burdens upon us. And this man has abused me, basically. He's allowed other women to abuse me. He's abused me for other women. This is abusive. I never asked for him in the first place. God said in the Bible, do not be unequally yoked with an unbeliever, but you put this man in my life. Whether you wanted him saved or not, you're supposed to go by your word. He's supposed to be accountable. I asked him to avenge me on my adversaries. I prayed for this man, but the man did not want to straighten up and go to God. And he has everyone in the background helping him, covering up everything he's done. He's tried to murder me numerous of times, had people running me off the road, had men follow me around on the road. I'm so afraid and frantic. Like I said, when I was back in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, police will sit outside my car, just flashing their lights or just sitting there watching my window while I'm in my townhouse. And I had to look out the window and I had to report them. And then they would finally leave and it would stop. He would call people who are working for him. He has an entire network of people who are on his side because he's in this elite organization. And no one will say anything. And I'm like, women should not be abused. We should be protected and provided for. Here I am sitting here. I have no money. I've been for years in this situation. He has blocked me from having anything. I could not even get married. God wanted me to get married. He is setting away, blocking everything, holding on to me. When you don't even want me. You just don't want me to have anybody else. He does not want me. He said he didn't want a black woman, but you want to hold on to me and mistreat me and abuse me. That's the thing. I've been abused. I wake up some days and, like I said, in excruciating pain. People are just allowed to cast that burns me. Sometimes I get out of bed or out off the couch because I don't have a bed. When I climb off the couch, I feel like I'm weighed down, like I'm 400 pounds. And the Lord let me know one of they big 60-year-old, whoever it is, then attach themselves and climb inside my soul and my body and putting their burdens on me. And I'm feeling my feet all in pain. It feels like a person who ain't got up and moved around in years and you putting your burdens on me. You got 60-some-year-old women putting their burdens on me, men and women. I'm tired of it. Ask God, this ain't no ministry like this. I shouldn't have to be abused like this. These people are supposed to come to you. You said you are the vine. We are the branches. You making me the vine now because they all coming and joining and attaching themselves to me and putting their burdens on me and my children. My son had to carry the burdens of grown men. We're tired of it. My daughter was 8, 9 years old when this woman started putting her burdens on her, taking her beauty, taking her hair, taking her skin color. Then my daughter is her whole skin is dark as what now? She's completely changed. Her beauty is gone. She says herself, she walks around like a 50-year-old woman. They took all her youth out of her. This is wrong. Letting old men and women cast your burdens onto children who you already had your youth and you're stealing somebody else's youth. And I'm fed up with it. I'm fed up with them hiding in the background. I'm fed up with carrying the burdens, being a scapegoat for somebody else who's causing problems behind the scenes. But then you putting all the thing on me, you pointing the finger at me, making it look like I did it. You ever heard that song where they said, who stole the cookie out the cookie jar? And somebody sitting in the background, they know they stole it all along. They smiling, grinning while you getting blamed for it. That's how it's been going all along. Him and this woman and they whole family, they network, doing things, causing things to happen. And me and my children are being blamed for it. Me and my family. And everybody looking at me like I'm the problem. And I'm sitting here with nothing. And I asked God, I says, Lord, whether you want him to say or not, you're supposed to honor your word. I should have never had to be with this man. He attached himself to me. He asked for me. He violated me. And whether God wants him out or not, the man was not obedient. He did not go to God, do what he was supposed to have done. He did not pick up his cross like Jesus Christ told the man in the Bible. He says, do you want to be healed? He said, well, pick up your bed. And he told him what he had to do. He told him what was required of him to become healed. And he had to do it to receive his healing. If you don't do it, you don't get your healing and deliverance. And you're not supposed to be casting your burdens on no one else. I've been carrying these people's burdens for years, for decades. I lost my entire life because they stole everything from them. And I said, Lord, why do I have to be the one walking around fat, obese, unattractive, in poverty, bondage, stupid? They took my knowledge, my brain, everything out of me. And I'm the one that's shamed because you let them cover up their sins, cover up their iniquities, cover up their burdens and cast them on us. Me and my family, my children got to bear their burdens. Like I said, my son can't even go to school now because they destroyed his life. They cast their burdens upon him. They swapped our lives and our destinies. And it's too much that's been going on that's been covered up for years. And once again, we got to clean up their mess. I'm sitting here in a house with no lights, no electricity, no heat, no nothing. And my family, once again, I take the little money they got and pay for this while this man's sitting up here with money and property and investments and everything. You don't have to be accountable for what you have caused. I'm fed up with it and I'm tired of being mistreated. I am a woman. I am supposed to have a man who's going to love me, protect me, provide for me, not abuse me and mistreat me and hurt me. And I'm tired of women being abused. Women should not have to be abused. Children should not have to be abused and mistreated. Everyone's supposed to be held accountable for what they've done. Even when I had to be held accountable. I had to be held accountable. God held me accountable. When I was a young girl, as a teenager, my father introduced me to pornography when I was 5 years old. And I had to be accountable. Yes, I did things. I was out there promiscuous when I was a young girl, and I was punished for that. He punished me. Whether I had demons in me or not, I had to be delivered and healed. I came to him. I got my deliverance and my healing. I straightened up. I became celibate. But you let somebody else come along and cast the burdens upon me and destroy me, defile me. They're supposed to be judged. And I'm asking you all to start praying for judgment because I am tired. Me and my children are tired carrying their burdens. They keep doing their sins and then they keep running back to God, asking for mercy, getting other people to pray for them and get mercy so they can keep covering up their abuse. They don't want to change. They don't want to go to God and stop what they're doing. They just want to escape their judgment and keep doing what they want to do to us, making us suffer. And I'm tired now. I'm tired. Every man's supposed to be held accountable. God says he would avenge us of our adversaries. When we cry out to him, he said he would avenge us speedily. He says he is just God. And I'm asking you that you pray that you will join me in prayer that these veils will be removed, that I would no longer be the scapegoat. Me and my children would no longer be the scapegoat, that everyone who's come up against us, this entire covenant organization, all these elite networks, all these people who have joined themselves to our souls and caused problems and put their burdens upon me and my children, that they are made to be held accountable, that they are not punished. Because see, they're supposed to go to Jesus Christ. They truly want him, but they don't want him. They don't want their healing and deliverance. This is why they have not received it. But then they're putting their burdens on us. They're living by passing their burdens upon us. And we sit here being the scapegoat, carrying all their burdens. Is not right. It is not right. And I want justice.